Well, I got to tell you that overtime goal, there was some, that was hockey wood at its finest right there. Hockey wood reappeared, brought to you by your favorite, Cialis or Viagra company. Anyways, welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. As always, a recap of the Bruins game as the Boston Bruins skate to a 3-2 overtime victory over the New York Islanders. And a game number 55, Razor, that 1 point is all they needed. As soon as they went to overtime, they put themselves in the third spot, solidified it. So they know they're going to take on the Washington Capitals. Game 1 is Saturday night at 7:15. It will be on NBC and not NESN. But before we get to all that, we welcome you in. Well, what'd you think? You watched this one from afar. And, look, I mean, there's a different vibe than playing the New York Rangers, both from a Bruins style and also the style of their opponent. A very different New York team. They share the first name, New York, but they play a very different style of game.
Much different style, much different intensity, too. You could tell both teams were playing for something.
Yeah.
For the first time. And I don't remember, was it Pittsburgh was the last time? I think before Buffalo, the Rangers, Devils. Mm-hmm. So it's been a couple weeks that the Bruins and that we saw them playing for something. And it was fun to watch. I think the Bruins came back from their lackluster third period against the Rangers last game and really set the tone. Obviously in the first period, 18-4 shots, they were all over them. And then in the third, they dictated as well. I thought they did a good job locking things down, not giving anything up. It was fun to see. It was funny because at the end of the game, you're watching the 6-on-5, which typically does not happen. Maybe once every 2 seasons you see that happen in a 5-on-5 game. And when it ended, I was like, all right, they got it, game over, and then you forget about that. And then Taylor Hall really makes you forget about it with what he did in overtime.
Yeah, it's phenomenal stuff. And we'll get to the Taylor Hall goal in a moment because it deserves an awful lot. But this was a game that I think the Bruins looked at. Everybody's been asking me. I'm sure the same thing with you, although I think your social media is still screwed up. At least your Twitter.
Yeah.
Who should the Bruins play in the first round? Who should they play? Who should they play? And you made the point in a text to me late in the game. You said, well, Islanders Islanders are playing to play the Capitals. And I think that's because, and I should have it in front of me, but I don't because I'm not a good broadcaster. I don't remember. I think the Islanders only have a few wins combined against both the Caps and the Penguins. But I feel like, to your point, it was a good point. I feel like they know. I mean, the Penguins at times really gave it to them this year. Really gave it to them. I think they feel like the bigger Caps and the style that they play are a better matchup for them, and that's why they went for it. That's why they not just to play for the win, but they really went for it, probably to get that match, or at least to give themselves, I should say, a chance to get that matchup.
Yeah, no question. If they're happy with Pittsburgh, they're not pulling the goalie and trying to get a point, like they're trying to get the extra point. They wouldn't. They would just act like, well, no, we wanted to try and win the game the right way. Whatever the answer, whatever the spin is afterwards. And I think that also goes to the way Boston played tonight. I feel like I've been a little bit guilty maybe of looking past Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and Jeff Carter and Letang and you
Gensel.
Think about it. And why would you try and play those guys, I guess? And you don't have to try and not play them, but why would you try to play those guys? And that's what my thought was tonight's game, especially the way the Bruins came out, that they're going to try and get that third place. They're going to try and take on the Caps and go for, and they're the best team. They feel like they're the best team with the way Hall's playing, that they can beat anybody. So what does it matter? Let's win this game and think about what we're going to do the rest of the week.
I mean, if you think about it, and I know we've touched on this, and we're going to do a full series preview show coming up in a few days, so we're not going into that right now. But if you think about it, in 2 weeks, two really good teams, as we've talked, are going to be gone from the playoffs, from the Eastern Division, because these all four
right.
good hockey clubs. Although the way I look at how the Bruins have played the Islanders the last 3 games, I'm telling you what, it's a whole different vibe now. A whole different vibe, because the Islanders can't match now with the way that Krejci and Hall and Smith are playing on that line. They can't match up that extra line there. And I feel like in Varlamov, he's a good goalie. He's the best of the other 3 goalies, I think, over Vanacek and over Jari. I do. Now, I don't know if he's injured or not, but regardless, he's the best. So I just think the Bruins, now I kind of feel like they play this Islander team well. I do. I think they match up. They match up with them real well now.
Yeah, because now they have speed through the neutral zone on all 3 or 4 lines, and they don't get bogged down, and they find ways to get around it. They certainly have matched up well the last 3 or 4 games, and they ended up tying the series when we thought that they were going to lose all 8 to them. They ended up splitting.
All right, so let's quickly run through this one, and then we're going to talk about Ondřej Kaše, his injury. We're going to talk about perhaps what the Bruins are going to look to do with their lineup on Tuesday night, which really shouldn't be any great surprise. I mean, we're going to talk about the greatness of Taylor Hall. That's coming up real quick too. Let's just run through the game quickly. I want to get your thoughts on the whole Leo Komarov. I'll call it a butt end. I don't know if it actually was, or a gut punch on David Pastrnak. Thankfully, from a Bruins perspective, Razor, they made him pay. I thought it was cheap as hell. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. And I've had it done to me, and you know what I mean? Like, you've seen it happen to other guys too. Usually it's a cup check type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. But this one was right in the gut. And it's just like, Leo Komarov, I get his role. I do. I get Uncle Leo. I know all the guys that play with him love him. Did you play with him? No,
I
you're
missed
too
him in
old.
Toronto.
Yeah, right.
I missed him in Toronto.
But I mean, it was a stupid play. And I'm glad they made him pay. I am, because, it's a dick thing to do, quite honestly, especially this time of year.
Well, that's it. Especially that's where I was going to go first, is that in 10 days from now when he's doing that stuff, you get it. He's setting a tone. Whatever, you can spin it however you want. But the second last game, as much as they're playing for it and as much as these guys pulled the goal in trying to get third place, at the end of the day, they're trying to get into playoffs healthy. Mm-hmm. And that starts first with the superstars. And we already saw the mugging of superstars early in the week, and we've talked ad nauseam about that. And this is not to the same extent, but it's in a similar fashion in that Leo knows that he's not going to have to really deal with it, and he's going to go after one of the superstars and be annoying and stick the end of a stick in the guy's guts. And it's just something that it wasn't necessary. And to your point, it's great that they made them pay and make him, he's going to have to explain it to his teammates and the coaches, because someone's going to grab him. The coaches are going to grab him. Like, listen, like, what are you doing? We can't have this in the next 2 weeks. You're going to kill us. Yeah. So
Hall had his feet basically on the goal line.
That was sick. And what a play off the face-off, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the play and then the pass. I don't know if Krejci was trying to sauce it to Berge in front, or was it one of those double options?
I think he was going all the way over, yeah.
Well, if it was a perfect pass all the way over, too. And Hall literally has his skates on the goal line, and Varlamov can't slide over to get it, which is amazing when you think of it, but it was such a quick play. Mm-hmm. I just loved it. I do. And by the way, Taylor Hall, 2 penalties called against him early on in the game, too. I mean, the guy was just motoring. Mm-hmm. I mean, just freaking, just power hockey. And this was a team, by the way, the Islanders, that wanted Hall too, but just couldn't get him especially when Zajac got into the deal for Lou to get Palmieri. And I don't want to go on a tangent here. I'm just going to rhetorically ask this. I know Palmieri, and I did notice him a little more as the game went on. I know he played well the other night against New Jersey. His best game as an Islander. They have yet to try him, Razor, on the left wing with Barzal and Eberle. Not once. I don't get that. Isn't that where Anders Lee played? Yes, it is. I think Cal Palmieri is better than Leo Komarov on that line. I'm just saying, this isn't an Islander show. This isn't Morning Isle or The Isle is Sinking or whatever, Fantasy Island. Remember that? You're too young for that show, even. Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Fish Sticks, the Highliners.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't know why he's not there, but it's irrelevant, I guess. We can talk on that subject if the Bruins end up playing him in the playoffs. So the Islanders tie the game on a slap shot from Wahlstrom. Nice pass by Barzal. Let's talk about both goals that were scored on Tuukka. Give me your goaltender's eye on it. Wahlstrom's got a heavy shot. It was a beautiful pass too, by Barzal. Right, he doesn't look over there. So does that how much does that play into it?
Yeah, it plays in, especially the angle Barzal's taking towards the net. And you see it. We were texting during the game, and that's that play again that Tuukka slides across. It's really it makes the save much more difficult, and it shows why Tuukka's been so good, because he's getting on his feet typically on that play. Today, yesterday, against the Islanders, Barzal cuts in towards the net. And when he does that, we know Barzal is the shooter that he is. Tuukka has to get his feet set. And then as soon as Barzal goes, there's no momentum, there's no drift. Then Tuukka has to slide, and that puts him at the mercy of a hard Wahlstrom shot. It's harder to react. He can't get there early and play the positionally. He has to react. And through traffic, it's so difficult in the NHL. On the second one, Tuukka was a little deep on that play across, but similarly, same kind of a situation where he has to retreat a little bit to protect.
And that Pulak shot?
Yeah, exactly. He has to protect just a little bit, and he can't re-gap out, take some depth away from Barzal, who if he has, instead of having 3 feet between the goalie, if he has 5 feet, he's going to find a hole. He's going to find the right trajectory around the goaltender, and that was the case. The first one was the one where he's sliding and it's tough, right? Because you're looking at it's 2 goals on 9 shots, and the Bruins had 18 in the first. You're like, right. He's getting it. But those are 2 pretty difficult plays that, I would have loved to have seen him hold his feet and get over on his feet, but I do understand with Barzal coming in, he shoots 8 out of 10 times and not makes that pass back to Wahlstrom.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the Islanders
he didn't
have a ton.
And he didn't do anything else wrong, right? That's one of those ones where it's a compounding thing if he gives up one other one, but he didn't. He made all the other saves. He made a couple really nice 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second. He makes that nice play. It was a sequence of saves. He holds really strong to his left. Then it goes back around behind the net up top. And I don't know who hit it top of the circles. He makes a nice smother save and kills it. So he got through the rest of that period when Islanders were pressing.
And in the first period, I know the Islanders only had 4 shots. 3 of them, by the way, from defensemen. But 2 of them, if not 3, were good shots from distance that he had to find. We're standing right behind him at that point in the first period where our studio is, and we were all like, those are good saves.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're not nitpicking, but I think we're just analyzing that, here, I agree with you. 2 goals, 9 shots, come on, man. But really, the second one I just looked at from my untrained eye, I just felt like he was a little deep. I just felt, now, does that mean he stops it if he's 1.5 feet, 2 feet out? I don't know. Maybe it hits him then. Maybe it does. But anyways, the Bruins, again, they survive, so to speak. They figure that out. I love the Marchand goal. I love it from the effort by Pasternak, the comeback. I love it, the Krejci pass, but my favorite part of the play, and we broke it down, was Marchand getting on the inside of the defenseman, Pelech there, and who's much bigger than him, and using his body in the right shoulder, right knee to reverse leverage it and get down, and then his stick is on the ice, and the puck meets his stick at basically parallel to the left post, or I guess it would be Marchand's left post, the goaltender's right, and it was just awesome. When I say all he had to do was make sure his stick was down, firm bottom hand on the stick Razor, and redirect it in. But just amazing positioning right there. But it was it was a hard work goal all around.
He did all the work before the puck got to him, right? And how many times do we say that about what those guys do on a nightly basis? That's what they do. They work so hard before the puck gets to their stick that they make it look easy on all plays and their vision. And it was all three of those guys. And I mean, they're rolling. To have those guys playing the way they are going into the playoffs has to make everybody feel really good. They're buzzing all night. Like every time they're on the ice, those two lines, it was special. It is special. They had special regular seasons, and it was all because of really the hard work of especially Marchand, to your point. Just the way he grinded and worked all year in 56 games was really something else.
His body positioning is spectacular. It's just, and I think you can teach it, but first of all, you got to have the guts and you have to have the physical strength to do it. So he has the guts naturally. And secondly, he's developed this strength. I don't think people realize how strong he is for a guy his size. I mean, you just have to be. But then also his instincts are off the charts, and he understands how to separate. He understands how to protect. He understands where to move without the puck. Just glorious to watch. Just loved seeing him do that. And, of course, you're giving it to Krejci, and Krejci puts the puck on his stick. I mean, that's where, just spectacular. All right, let's go to the overtime goal, and then we're going to talk Ondřej Kaše. We're going to give our fresh cup to Taylor Hall. We're going to do that after we talk about this goal because this was more than fresh. This was hot. This was bold. This was strong. This was fun. I mean, and I actually thought in overtime a bit, that I actually thought at one point that Krejci was going to try and change, but then he saw the regroup happening, and so he stays out there in the neutral zone, and he makes himself available to a pass from Hall, who then, it's a little give-and-go type play and gets it back. And then Hall's just like, you know what, I'll see you, dude. And he just brings it in. He's going one-on-one with Nick Leddy, and he gets Leddy to do the thing that, Leddy doesn't cross over. That's the first thing you actually want to try and make a defender do. If you ever can get a defender to cross their feet over as a forward, that's when you've more or less accomplished the number one goal of a forward. But he doesn't do that. But what he does do is he opens up his legs, picks his stick up, and goes to play the body because he's just like, where is he going outside? Is he going to bring it back to wait a second, where's he going with this? And he just, not only does he use his speed, but then he uses his skill and then his power to get by him. And then the goaltender, by then, he's got to stay on the post, right, or on that side for the initial shot, right? I mean, he just has to. By that time, by the way, it's Sorokin in net.
Yeah, Sorokin. He has to commit to that to get all the way across the net. When Hall's got that much speed, you can't give him up the glove side. You got to beat him.
And you can't give him the short side, right?
Very similar to the Krejci goal against Pittsburgh, against Jarry, going back against the grain with all of that speed and being able on the backhand. Same idea. Goalie wants to take away the backhand short side. That's the easiest shot. Hall pulls it back against the grain, just like Krejci did. Really difficult as a goaltender coming across and reading the backhand. You just want to get ahead of it. You get so antsy, especially when Hall's flying like that. It's so hard to be patient and control yourself. And Hall recognizes that and took full advantage. But for a guy who had no confidence on April 11th, he is filled to the brim right now. The way he is moving, the way he is skating, the way he is celebrating, the way he is embracing teammates. He is on a mission. He really is. You can tell, and that's a cliche kind of fall. Just doesn't mean anything statement, but he is full of confidence, and he wants to prove himself. I guess that's what he's on a mission to do, is prove himself come playoff time.
And in post-game for Monday night, he talked about how it's only been 16 games, but this is probably the most fun he's had playing hockey. Playing it, to
I believe every second of that too. You watch him, I believe it, no question.
I don't know how it couldn't be, because while it was good in New Jersey, and I'm sure he had some fun in Arizona, although that was a short term, but New Jersey, it was good for a while. I don't know if there was ever a belief that New Jersey was going to be long term for him. I just don't, because of the where the team was,
or that he could actually win, right?
Right. That's what I mean. Where they,
if he could go on a run. He's never been able to go on a run.
Yeah. And so that I don't think he ever felt he was going to be there long term. So while he was dynamite in New Jersey, and I'm sure that was fun, there's a different vibe around being around a team that when, New Jersey, he didn't know if he was going into every game. He didn't know if they were going to win every game. He expects to win every game going into it with the Boston Bruins. And this is something he has never had before. What a fun thing to watch, right? I mean, you want to talk about exuding confidence, like you said. So 2 goals for Taylor Hall. He absolutely gets our fresh cup, our mega hot. I'm talking, this is piping hot. This is unbelievable fun stuff. Fresh
Burn the
cup
top
brought
of your mouth hot.
Exactly. This is the kind of stuff. This is why Razor doesn't drink hot coffee, folks.
I don't,
because
too
he's
hot.
afraid of burning the mouth. Right. Fazenda is definitely providing us with this fresh hot cup of the game to Taylor Hall. FazendaCoffee.com. That is spelled Fazenda. They are been wonderful people sponsoring Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Use the code Morning Brew. Get 15% off your first order. They've got free fast shipping, and with 3 bags or more, $35 for those 3 bags. And they're part of Boston. They're a local Boston company. They're roasting right here in Boston. They're hanging out here in Boston, just like Razor and I are. And they are dedicated to roasting the perfect cup of coffee. And you know what? Taylor Hall is dedicated to roasting opponents right now. How's that for a bad segue?
That's a bad one.
It is. It's awful. That sucks. That is cheesy broadcaster at its finest right there.
Yeah,
but
love it.
Speaking of roasting, okay, Patrice Bergeron, 15 out of 17 in the faceoff circle, roasting the New York Islanders in that regard. Some other little notes from the game or stats from the game. Krejci, 3 assists. Brad Marchand, another goal, another 2-point night, 1 goal, 1 assist. That's 5 of his last 7 now, Razor, that Brad Marchand has had multi-point games. 5 of his last 7. He should end the year as the top non-Canadian division, North Division, non-all-Canadian division scorer. Look, McDavid, unbelievable. Draisaitl, awesome. Matthews, awesome. All these guys putting up points, awesome, right? But it's not as good defensively overall as the guys that's not taking away anything from those guys. I mean, McDavid is just freaking unbelievable.
Yeah, at least McDavid. We could take it away from the other guys. McDavid, we can't take anything away.
No way. Yeah,
that is bananas.
And even Draisaitl.
I'm glad we brought it up. Yeah, Draisaitl too. Those 2 guys. I mean, to have 103 points this year is. And he did it again tonight. Another overtime, like 2. But anyways, yes, what Brad's doing in this division, goes a long way in the league. That's recognized throughout the league what he's done against this division and against this competition, against these defensive-minded teams. Definitely doesn't fly under the radar with hockey guys.
Yeah, it's just so impressive, and I mean he provides such spark for the team in so many ways. So much so, let's give him our spark of the game. As brought to you by Spark Skate Sharpener. Something that Razor and I really believe in is how great, convenient, and accurate Spark Sharpener is. Just a gorgeous machine. Go to sparkshockey.com, SPARX hockey.com. They are in stock, and they will ship to you the same day. They are so easy to use. Anybody can use them. I'm telling you, no BS. Within a day or 2, you will learn how to set it up. I'm going to show you, in fact, coming up in one of our next shows on the YouTube side of things, I'll show you what their sharpening rings look like, and it's so easy to use. You put it in there, you get it done. Couple of passes, you've always got it done for you.
Yeah, you set it up once, it's there. Bingo, bango. 5 minutes, perfect sharpening. You're off to practice. It's the best thing best hockey purchase I've had. It really is. It's awesome.
All right. And if you use Morning Brew, you will get 15. I'm sorry, you will. I just screwed up my my sponsors. You will get free shipping.
That's even better.
Sorry, my buddy Steve over at Sparks is like, no, you're giving away. Yeah,
we're already giving them away. $6.99. They're giving them away.
They are. Mm-hmm. So sparkshockey.com. Check it out. And Brad Marchand does provide a spark for this team all the time. Let's get to Ondřej Kaše. So he played, Ondřej Kaše ended up playing 9 shifts, 649, 2 shots on goal, 2 other attempts, had a hit, took a hit, did not come back though. And after two. Played it, started on we'll call it the fourth line, whether it was the third or fourth line. They're kind of mixing them up here and there. They didn't report what it is. You can surmise it is something related to the concussion. It wasn't feeling well. We don't know what that means. Could that just be the exertion of playing in a game, the highest level intensity? You cannot mimic it in a game, Razor. You cannot, or in a practice. You can skate them till, you can Herb Brooks them again, as much as you want. It still doesn't have the same sounds, the sights, the same noise, the music, the lighting, the hitting. It's all different practice to game. But yet, I'm not going to lie, man, I'm concerned. I hope I'm wrong, meaning I hope my concern is wrong. I know nothing. I hope that he just wasn't feeling well, and it was a result of exertion more so than concussion.
I feel bad. I feel awful, and I'm more concerned now than I was if he had taken a Scott Stevens hit across the middle. Because if you talked, I know guys that have this. I know guys that have played with this. I know guys that have finished careers because of this. And to a man, everybody says, I feel good, but I can't work out. I feel good day to day, but I cannot get my heart rate over 170. I cannot do that. That's a red flag. It really is. Like I said, all my buddies who have this or dealt with this that are now done cannot get their heart rate up. And that's what this sounds like to me. And if it is the case, it's hard to deal with because you just can't get past it. There's nothing you can really physically do. You can rehab and it's just the way it is. And you just hope that with time it gets better. But it is concerning for me coming out of this because if you heard this show, you saw me other play. I was really thought this guy was going to be a big spark for them in the playoffs, and for this to happen tonight it doesn't give me a good feeling.
No, not at all, because you go right to the worst possible scenario, and I think all of our listeners understand this more than enough. Now, I mean, just because you have a concussion, I mean, if you don't get hit in the head, it doesn't mean that you can't jostle. Things can't get moved around. And again, bumping and grinding in practice are one thing. Physical contact in practice versus the intensity of a real game, you just can't. You can't mimic it. There's no possible way that you can. And he took a huge hit. When I say a huge hit, it wasn't dirty at all. It was Adam Pelech that stood up on him. And, after he had the opportunity coming on the right side at one point in the second period, nothing dirty or anything. And sometimes you don't feel the effects of it until 10 minutes later when you come in and your body, your adrenaline rush runs off. And no update post-game, really. He's obviously not playing on Tuesday. And we're going to get to that, who will or who won't play on Tuesday. But I'm just hoping for the best, bud. I mean, yeah, I know you are too.
No, I am. I'm like, now I was hoping for the best, like have him go on a playoff run. Now I'm hoping for the best that he maybe
healthy
play again. Yeah, healthy.
I just want him not have to worry about it in his life. That's what I want.
Yeah.
All right. So Bruins now heading to Washington, a game that means nothing.
Yep.
They have 6 players that I count on their roster in no particular order. Zaboral to Nordy Kampfer, defenseman. Frederick, Bleed, Kuhlman. Those 6 that did not play. They will all be in the lineup. And I'm going to guess that I'm going to say Senyshyn, maybe Hughes. I don't remember who they kept. Maybe Oscar Steen. I'm going to guess that 8 or 9 players are in the lineup tomorrow.
I'm sitting both top lines, both of them out. No need to take an errant slap shot off the ankle. No need to take an errant stick in the mouth. Nothing.
Hey, the ice ain't great in Washington either, so
they don't need to travel. Don't even put them on a plane tonight. Let them stay at home, hang out. I mean, it is the absolute bare minimum that you have to do. It's actually probably going to be less. I hope it's less NHLers than an exhibition game, because in an exhibition game you have to dress 9 guys. There's rules in the NHL of who plays a preseason game. There's no rules for who plays tomorrow. I think you sit out everybody you possibly can and just get through the game with no injuries, nothing bad happening. And again, Wash is going to do the same. They're not going to try and look to hurt anybody, but an errant slap shot and it can derail everything. So just keep them all at home.
Keep it home, rest them up, get everybody back healthy. Don't have an update. I do know, this is going to drop. This show drops early in the morning, Tuesday morning. There will be an update in the morning. Who else has been called up? But I know for sure at least 6. I expect upwards of 8 or 9 different bodies in the lineup, letting guys get rest and get ready. First game of the series for the Boston Bruins against the Washington Capitals will be on Saturday at 7:15. We mentioned that will be on NBC. However, for all of you who do want to watch on NESN, we will have full pregame and postgame coverage for you, going over every single game, starting with Game 1. But in the meantime, Bruins have to finish up the regular season, Game 56 on Tuesday night. They'll have a couple of days off, and then they will start their playoffs on Saturday. All right, man, good stuff. Nothing really else that needs to come through. I thought, I'll say this real quick. I thought Chris Wagner played well in his return to the lineup. I thought he was noticeable. I thought Charlie McAvoy, he had 4 or 5 hits in the game. I thought he was very noticeable, very active. He had 7 short top shot attempts. He had 4 blocks as well. Good stuff. It wasn't perfect, but it was good stuff in this game. So the Bruins, they earned the victory. And why not? Look, it's 2-2. You win the point. Now you go for it. Just win it in overtime. And Taylor Hall, again, provided the hockey wood moment of the night. All right. Well, that's going to do it for Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We hope everybody enjoys their Tuesday morning. Enjoy the day. And then join us for Tuesday night hockey as the Bruins take on the Washington Capitals.
Big week.
And a big week. And we will tell you, it is a big week. And we will tell you what we're hoping, what we're planning, I should say, after Tuesday's game. We'll tell you what we've got planned, and it should be a great, huge week of its mega brewness, if that's such a term. All right, everybody, enjoy your coffee, please, and really enjoy it with that Taylor Hall goal replay.